today. But I want to start with some recognition. And then I've asked Katie to share a little bit about her and her story, and then we're going to wrap it up with some strategy today. So first of all, happy Thanksgiving week. Chelsea and I were just talking about our plans, and that's exciting. So speaking of Chelsea, 3 faces, 5 career chats this week. Erica, 9 faces, 6 career chats. I don't have numbers for Jocelyn. Katie, 8 faces, 3 career chats. 1 new agreement, woo, and 1643 in sales. Shut the front door. How did you get the 1643 in sales as a new consultant? Talk to us about that.
Okay, so I have been contacting everyone that I know, and I work with a bunch of guys. So I sent out books after books after books, and since this $13,300.
Uh-oh.
Truthfully.
Okay, you cut out there for a hot second. You said the $13,500. So the DIQ production, and then what'd you say after that? It cut out.
Yes, I'm trying to get it done.
She's just like, don't worry. Okay, so I love that mentality of I'm taking personal ownership. I know this is my goal, and by golly, I get to contribute and I get to do a lot. And I'm going to make this happen. So I love this so much. And Katie, I have to commend you too, because you were the first. You were the first DIQ to get 5 people to watch the video and fill out the Google Doc. And really, total, I think you had how many did you have? 6 or 8? I think that you maybe even had somebody that slid in at the last minute too. So that's good. You just sat on them and said, do it now, do it now, do it now, which I love. Okay, I think that's awesome. So let's, since you're unmuted, I'm going to go ahead and have you share your story. Some of you know, because I've talked about it before, Katie is an active duty military, she and her husband. So they have an interesting lifestyle, little untraditional. And so tell us a little bit about how you came into Mary Kay and what was the shift for you, because she literally was the last person to sign up for Tiffany Graves to earn the cruise. And she was simply like, I'll do this to help you out. Not really going to do anything with it, but I'm going to do this to help you out. And then what was that shift for you?
Yes, that's exactly right. I really didn't have a plan after I had said yes, I would do it. And then it kind of gave me 3 or 4 days to really try to strategize and come up with something before my kit arrived. So then when I got it, I just started thinking about all the different people that I knew. And I really totally took Tiffany's lead. You know, she was guiding me. She's a great mentor. And from there, I started just reaching out to everybody that I knew, and it just kind of happened. And Mary Kay is not very popular in my area whatsoever. So to get recruits, to be excited about that and to get recruits was easy. Not many people make 50% of exactly what they sell. So people were excited to make that income. I'm sorry, I've got a baby right here beside me.
You're good. Totally fine.
Yeah, people were excited to make. So yeah, that's really how it started.
I love it. I'm taking notes on what you're saying. And your kiddos don't bother us. Chelsea's got 2 little boys, so she knows. And then they get older, and then you get things like puppies that are, my puppy can be very distracting, but I love her. Okay, so I love the fact that you, here's what I heard you say. So you took Tiffany's mentorship, because here's the thing, all the directors, and you guys are going to be the same, you are offering mentorship now to your people, but they have to accept it. You know what I'm talking about. All of you know that you've got people that are hungry and willing. Chelsea, I'm even thinking about some of your rock stars that are Brianna. She's like, yes, tell me more, that kind of thing. And then you've got other people that, we lost her. Okay, I'm sure she'll be back. I think the connection was a little rough. Anyway, okay, she is back. Well, that was fast. See, she on there. Are you on? Okay, good deal. Is your connection a little wonky?
Yes, we live out in the sticks, so it's good.
You do?
Connected right now.
I love it. And Chelsea, when I was first talking to Katie, I was like, you have to be like from South Carolina or something. She was like, no, I'm from this area. Like she lives in Florida, but she's like right on the Alabama border. And I was like, I don't know. We've got Alabama girls. You sound more, you don't sound like them, but it's like extra Southern. Like, don't you think? It's so, you have like this endearing accent. So we're going to tell ourselves it's your endearing accent that is why you're so wildly successful. No, truthfully. Okay, so going back to the mentorship, like you had to accept it. You had to take what she was sharing with you and implement it. And like I said, you guys know what I'm talking about because you've got people that you're offering, you know, your guidance, your expertise, your ideas, your energy even, and they have to like choose to accept it or not. So you did that. And then I love how you said, I made a list and I talked to everybody. And I also love how you said, you're like, it's not super popular. Not that many people make 50% profit. Okay. So truthfully, that's true across the board. Like, I don't care if you live in Dallas, Texas, there are very few people out there that make 50% commission. There are very few people out there that understand, like really understand what we're all about. And so that's why we're always educating people. And so I love the fact that you were like with zero inhibition sharing. And that's what really has made you successful. Sharing and your accent. No. But it's truthfully, it's sharing with sheer passion. And we do that like without, there's almost like a fine line that we walk, like you'd be crazy not to consider this. And then the other side of that coin is you're dumb if you don't consider this. So there's like a fine line between you're crazy and you're dumb if you don't, consider this. But making sure that we're communicating like, yeah, it really is as good as it sounds. Like it really is that great. And I do think inviting people to see our environment. So inviting them to join the video, inviting them to, like Chelsea and I were just at a beauty bar this weekend. And just the joy that was just in that room, like Chelsea, we could not have fit another person in our studio. We were like trying to get around. It was packed in there. And it went a little longer than we had anticipated. But everybody was like excited and having a blast and winning prizes and joking and laughing and loving the products and stuff like that, that it was so great. And so to bring women into that environment at our meetings, at our events, onto the videos, stuff like that, where they can get kind of a taste of that, it's kind of a foreign concept to most women. They're like, oh, that's pretty great, and that's, you hear that a lot when people sign after coming to a meeting or event. They're like, I was just drawn to the energy. And so it's true. It's pretty stinking awesome. Actually, Katie, I would also love for you to share what was the switch for you to say, okay, I'm going to build this business to, I want to be a sales director. I want you to share that part.
Okay, so I had a turning point with Mary Kay, and honestly, it was YouTube that actually turned it for me. And it was watching Dr. Gloria Mayfield Banks and watching her story and how she came through, and whenever I seen that, I thought, if she can do this, I can do this, it truly, that's really what it was. Like, I was so inspired by her story. And then I loved hearing everything about Pamela Waldrop Shaw. I love listening to her. She's got so much inspiration, and those two people really drive me. I'm sure there's 100 more out there, but those are the two that I'm most attracted to, that I feel like I can communicate or relate with and drive forward. Truly, those are the two.
Wow, I love that. Okay, so you'll have to tell Gloria because we're in the same seminar with her. And so, I'll just introduce you to her. And it's so funny because do you know Tanya Haywood? She's one of our newest directors. She is African American. She's a sheriff's deputy. She's in Alabama, but I don't think you've had a chance to meet her yet. Chelsea's met her. And so I remember whenever Gloria was like close by and a million people are taking pictures with her at seminar, and Tanya's like, She was just like this. And I was like, come on, Tanya, I'm going to introduce you. Gloria's like, she's so gracious. She's so, so gracious. So I just like, shoved her up front. I was like, Gloria, I want you to meet brand new sales director. Yeah, she's like this tall. She's really tiny. I was like, you got to meet Tanya. She's a brand new sales director. She's the sheriff's deputy. She's totally, excited. And Tanya's just like this. And Gloria's like, hey, so anyway, you share that with her. And Pam is so, like, I tell Pam all the time, I'm like, Pam, what is your IQ? Because you make my brain hurt sometimes. But she is so brilliant. And she's just amazing. So I think you are wise. But I love the fact that you just, like, took that and you're like, okay, if they can, so can I. And so that's amazing. And again, I love the fact that you are active duty right now, because that breaks a lot of limiting beliefs for a lot of other people. And not only are you active duty, but so is your husband. Like, that just adds an element of excitement right there, right? So for both of you to be, which is so awesome. Well, we're so blessed to have you as a DIQ and soon to be sales director in the Davis National area. Like, you're going to be, here's what I want you both to know. And really, as Jocelyn and Erica get to hear the playback, this is for all four of you. I want you to ingest this for a second. You are going to be the inspiration for millions of other women in the same opportunity. And so to think about that, like, wow, like to think about the people that inspire you, the Glorias, the Pams, Chelsea, who's one of your rock stars? I know there's a lot.
Okay, I am obsessed with Patricia Turker.
Really? Okay.
I love her.
Yeah, she's pretty stinking amazing too. Because all of these national sales directors are inner circle national sales directors. They make anywhere from like $400,000 a year to $1 million a year. So that's pretty awesome. So I love it. Patricia Turker. Okay.
Ari passed away too.
Oh. Okay. So I have a secret, Chelsea.
And of course, Heidi.
Heidi. Yes. Yes. And Katie.
There's really, honestly, like, I mean, how can you not be inspired by any national? I mean, so there you go.
You're like, I like them all. Katie, you, I believe, are going to be going to Heidi Gelzer's January Jumpstart. Because I think that all the Florida girls are going to go to Heidi's. And Heidi is the national that we just brought into Fall Advance. And she lives in Florida. And you are going to love her. It's going to be so fun. So, yeah, but if you could really just think for a second, like, oh my gosh, is that even possible for me, little me, to be the one to inspire and encourage and ignite the fire into other women? Yes, you. And it's hard to, like, poor thing. It's hard to fathom that at first, but it's like the more you stick with it and you don't give up, you will be. You guys, I could talk to you so many times about all the times, when people say, I never wanted to give up, I'm like, liar. That's really what I want to say. You're lying. But truthfully, I think about it from time to time. I do count my blessings. I absolutely am like, thank you, Jesus. Like, there's so many blessings. There's so many things to be thankful for. And so many things I feel like I can't even take credit for. And yet, ultimately, a lot of what I have or have created in Mary Kay is simply because I never gave up. Never gave up and continued to give my best every day. So when you take, and we're going to talk about strategy next, but when you take the day and you absolutely, I talk about all the time, win the day. So don't worry about tomorrow. That's even a biblical principle. Do not worry about tomorrow. Tomorrow has enough of its own worries. This is basically what the Word of God says. So focus on today, because today is the day that the Lord has made, right? Today is the day. And you guys remember, we all know the story of the manna, when he provided manna for the Israelites. And do you remember what they were called to do with the manna? So what were they called to do, Chelsea?
I believe it was they were supposed to gather enough for that day and leave the rest.
Yes. And do you remember what happened for the people who got a little greedy? Or maybe they just like I love Costco. I'm actually headed there tomorrow. Like if I don't make it out alive, then come find me. But I love Costco because I love buying in bulk. Like I love having so much. You guys are like that too. Like your pantry is so stacked full, right? But what happened to the people that collected more than they could consume for that day?
Didn't it turn into like maggots or something like that?
It totally rotted, and yes, it was maggot infested and everything. Yes. And so the reason behind that is that we are to trust. Like if we always have a stockpile of everything we need, we have a stockpile of leads, we have a stockpile of agreements, we have a stockpile of money, we have a stockpile of everything, then we have no need for the Lord. And he has absolutely created us to have utter dependence on him. And I actually didn't even listen to the whole sermon. I need to go back, but Stephen Furtick talked recently, and the only thing I heard really resonated with me. And he said, God's love language is trust. Wow. I was like, oh my gosh, that's so good. God's love language is trust. When we trust in him and we trust that he's going to provide, we trust that he's going to give us. Now, that doesn't mean that we stop working. It doesn't mean that we stop saving. It doesn't mean that we stop doing what we know to do, right? But trusting in him will keep us focused on the right thing. If you've not listened to the prayer call yet, I'm tempted to say, hang up from this and call the prayer call, because it's so good and just talks about setting your heart in that right direction. And gratefulness, having a grateful heart is really where it starts. That's the starting point. You want to turn, we all get in funks. Yes, we do. Myself included, Chelsea. I know people think, like a lot of people are like, are you always, I do have great energy, and positivity is in my top 5 strengths. So I'm fairly positive, but I still get in funks every once in a while. Ask my husband. They get the brunt of it, don't they? So we all get in funks. And, sometimes we talk about this a lot. Like emotional management is one of those musts for becoming a leader in this business. And I think that's the stopping point for some people, because it's a must because we're pouring out constantly. Right? And so we've got to get ourselves right in order to be able to pour out. So the starting point to getting yourself out of a funk is to start with gratefulness. And that is like if you think about that being the foundation. The foundation is to focus on what you're grateful for. And then really once you start focusing on that, then you start, your subconscious and your brain will start finding more and more things you're grateful for. So, because here's the other thing we get more of what we focus on. So what is your most prominent thought right now? Is it lack? Is it, I don't have enough of this, I need some more of that? Okay. And here's the thing, we talk about this a lot, and y'all, I'm so grateful that we do. I have a sweet, sweet friend who's in another direct sales business. She's amazing. Oh, how I want her and Mary Kay. And I have not been shy about that at all. She knows it. She's in another direct sales business, but you guys, in her direct sales business, they do not talk enough, and from what I'm understanding, about like your mental state. They don't talk enough about getting right, because she went on and on about like how she believed in the company and she believed in the mission and she believed in the product, but there was so much like, but I can't, and I haven't, and I'm worried, and I'm like, huh. Like we don't, we know that that's not right, right? Like we know that thought process is extremely harmful. And so we know to capture those thoughts. And that's the thing. It's not that we are not going to have those thoughts. It's that we know to recognize them, to capture them, and to replace them. We can't give power or energy to any of those negative thoughts. So I had a thought the other day I was a little frustrated. And my my personal goal is developing 3 new first line this year. And I do believe, Chelsea knows Meg, I do believe Meg's going to be in DIQ December 1st. That's the plan. But I'm like, you know, of course, I thought, why haven't I developed a new first line yet? Like, what the heck? And why can't I find some? Okay, not the right thought process. But it's, again, it's not that we're not going to go there. It's that we have to recognize it and stop it. So I had to like go, stop it, stop it, stop it. That's not the right thought process. Okay, what do I do? I start at gratefulness and I say, I look around and say, thank you, God, for all of these things that I have and that you've provided, and that, you know, all the places that we are. Because if you think about it, like, think about where you used to be. Think about this time last year and think about what a different place you're in this year. You guys are all in a place that so many women are working hard to be in by December 1st. So like, that's exciting, right? So just even thinking about that, like well, we're never going to be where we want to be until we're in heaven, right? But I am so much further than I used to be. And so that's the exciting part, is to just be like, okay, I'm in a better mental state, whatever. So being grateful and then starting to say, okay, this is who I want, like naming specifically who I want and thanking the Lord for bringing them into my life, into my path. So when our thought process is on, this is what I want, then that's what we're giving power to. So you see how then our focus is more like, okay, then we're focused on who we're finding that's amazing instead of what we're lacking, right? We're going to get more of our most prominent thought. So be very aware of your most prominent thought. All right, here we are. Let's talk strategy real quickly. Your strategy for this week, this final week where a lot of great things is happening. Your number one, and y'all, it's a busy week. I know it's a busy week. So if you only get to number one, that's okay. Number one, new agreements. Who is your next personal? Who that watched the video do you want most on your team? Offer her your firstborn. You have to sign today. I mean, honestly, what I did is I went back to the people that I really wanted, and I was like, hey, I'm going to give you a set of the eye patches if you sign today. And it worked. So, because sometimes it's just creating that sense of urgency. I was like, in addition to the Compact Pro, you're going to get this. This is a total no-brainer. Like, you should totally go for it. And the other thing I often will say too is if you do it for a year and you decide you want to go back to being a customer, go back to being a customer. That's totally fine. So anyway, just kind of giving them that thought and that out is okay too. So new agreements is your number one focus, because there's nobody on here that's exempt from needing new agreements. And so we're always focused on that. So new agreements, number one, and then obviously going in that video, just so you know, that video is made to be valid through New Year's. Okay. So it's generic enough to be made valid through New Year's. So you can keep using that video. And, then who on your team, did they have people that were having people watch the video and stuff like that? So following up with them and asking them to, like, who do they want, and helping them follow up and getting those new agreements in for them. Because, I mean, like, how great would that be? What if you added somebody new today and you had a team member that added somebody new today? How awesome would that be? So that's your number one focus. Number two, Pink Week. It's Pink Week. It's like one of the most awesome weeks of the entire year. So if you start to think for a second, but it's the last week of the month. Yes, it is. So let's maximize every single day. But it's also the most powerful, one of the most high sales weeks of the entire 12 months, right? Of the entire year, of the 52 weeks. This is one of the biggest ones. So have you put out your Pink Week sale yet? Oh, it's almost one. Okay. Have you put that out yet? And which is number one. And who of your people have put theirs out? And do they know how to maximize? Do they know how to communicate it? You guys know that when you put out your Pink Week, that you've got to communicate it 100 different ways. You've got to communicate it 100 different times. Yes, Remy. You've got to do all of that. But do your people know that? And even the people who are not really in it. Okay, so we all have people, like, you probably each have 1 or 2 people that are on your team that might have a pulse, right? And so you go to them first. But then even the people on your team that haven't done anything, they could still very easily do the pink week, right? You could say, hey, what do you think? Like, why not? And you just make sure that they've seen the flyer that I've posted, or another flyer, or whatever you're doing. Like, what if you sent this out? What if you texted this to all of your friends and family? What if you posted this on your Mary Kay Facebook page? What if you know, that kind of thing. You will be amazed at how many of them haven't even thought of it. But they can and they will if you bring it to their attention. So that's number 2. And then number 3, focus. Part of your strategy this week is the November challenge. And so the November challenge, is bringing you back to that, is 30 faces and 600 wholesale. 30 faces and 600 wholesale. So how are you doing on your November challenge? How are you doing on the number of faces? How many more do you need? You absolutely can say, like, I talked to somebody the other day, she's like, I still need 12 faces. I'm like, you have a week. You can totally do this. And especially if you're like, hey, I need this many faces. You guys, I could tell you a million stories about people who didn't give up on the number of faces that they needed when they just needed to do like 5 more faces. But it was that last one, that last group gathering that brought them in their new hotshot that came on with the star order. So that's why we don't ever give up on the activity, no matter what. Level 3 commitment, no matter how I'm feeling, who's in the game, who's not in the game, who gave up, whatever, doesn't really matter. Level 3 commitment says, I will finish what I know to do. I will finish my activity. I will do my part. And the results are up to God, right? So thanks so much for being on, Katie. Thanks so much for sharing your stories. Great having you on today. And happy Thanksgiving to you guys. So let's go finish strong. And I think we're going to be welcoming in some additional DIQs starting next Monday, next Monday is December. How crazy is that? Where did November go? All right. Thanks for being on, you guys. Ask any questions you want on our Voxer, and we'll go from there. Have a great week. Bye-bye.